How's it going, everyone? It is Dragon. We're back with another chapter of Fairy Tale 100-Year Quest, chapter 156, Brian. And the cover page for our chapter has Kana and Bacchus on it, which kind of a little bit misleading because the past few chapters have been focusing on relationships, so this cover kind of sets it up to make you think that this is going to be the focus, which it's really not. Either way, I think this cover's pretty fun just to see these two just go out drinking casually. And honestly, is it any surprise that these two would get along insanely well if all they do is drink all the time? I honestly would have loved to see a full chapter focus on these two if it was following the trend that we were going in, but sadly we didn't get that, but it is still a very fun cover. So we pick up in a new city, that being Hawthorne, and we get Jellal saying he's going to be returning home and that he wishes everyone safe travels. Even myself and Lucy kind of thought that he was just going to tag along, that, he was going to be part of the next arc, but I guess he's not, with Gray saying that how could he, this is a job for Fairy Tale, which he's kind of a Fairy Tale member now. I kind of find it ironic that Natsu's the one to point this out, that, if he was going to leave, why didn't he just leave when Sabretooth left? And Happy and Carla are just both like, oh my goodness, Natsu, it's because you just wanted to spend time with Erza, that's it. And I just love the immediate reaction on Jellal and Erza's face, that they're like, oh crap, he caught us. Pretty much everyone else in the group except for Natsu takes the hint, like, hey, we're going to leave these two alone for a bit, let them talk and do their thing. Natsu's pretty much the only one that doesn't get it and has to have Lucy forcibly drag him out of there, with their group going to look for the location of Ignea's castle while they let Jellal and Erza figure things out. Honestly, really do enjoy this conversation that Jellal and Erza have, with it just kind of starting by recapping, previous arcs, and that their journey is going to be over soon, which we'll see if this actually is the final arc or not. With Jellal telling her to come home safe, and Erza says that she'll, miss the guild, and that prompts Jellal to say when, she comes back, would she put in a good word for him? Which I love that she was never expecting this response from Jellal, like, she never thought that he would actually potentially join Fairy Tale, so she freaks out and she's like, you want to join? And I love that he's like, I don't want to look back anymore, I want to look ahead to the future with Fairy Tale, and she immediately goes to hug him, which she was not thinking about this, because obviously she quick backs out of that. She's immediately like, we're going to roll out the red carpet for you, Master's going to do everything to get you in this guild. And you get Jellal saying to Erza that, he fully wants to join Fairy Tale and that she better come home safe. And she says, yeah, I promise. Which, any other manga or anime, a lot of the lines in their conversation would be screaming death red flags. But honestly, I really don't see Erza dying or Jellal dying in any way. So I'm going to say things are pretty safe, but watch as this is like the biggest 180 ever, and like these are the biggest death red flags ever, and like no one takes them seriously, and meanwhile like Erza dies this arc. So we cut away from Erza and Jellal and we go back to the town, and they're at the Beacock Saloon, which, wild name. And they're at this bar asking the bartender if he's heard of the Fire God's Castle, with the bartender saying that, a bunch of adventurers come in here all the time to try out local flavors, and they talk about all sorts of monsters and labyrinths, so it could be any of those things. So we asked Natsu and Lucy if this is their kid, which I love that, like, Lucy's like, no, and Natsu's just like, she clearly doesn't look like us, okay? She's got a different hair color than the both of us, so she's not our kid. Kind of love in a weird way that Natsu actually kind of knows genetics, with him saying, he has pink hair, Lucy has blonde hair, so no way that Wendy could be their kid. But obviously he doesn't know too much into it, because he literally asked Lucy if they had a kid, what color would the hair be? And she's like, well, how am I gonna know? But Gray brings up that they literally had Nashi and Edalus with a Lucy and Natsu there, so that's probably what their kid would look like. Kind of love that it gets reversed on Gray. Like, well, yeah, you also had a kid there too with Juvia. And he's like, don't bring that up. So with the bartender not really knowing anything, they ask, is there a guild nearby? And someone off in the distance says, there sure is. That person is apparently Brian, and he gets asked to leave them alone, but he's hungry. And how dare he look at Happy and Carla as little snacks, because he's looking at them trying to eat them, and he's talking about his tummy rumbling, which doesn't go very well with Natsu. He literally gets straight up in his face to say, you are not going to be touching my kitty cat, with him literally demanding that he says sorry because Happy and Carla are his friends, and, you know, threatening to eat them. Doesn't very go well in his book. Brian's kind of built differently because he's like, well, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that, because how can I say they're scrumptious when I haven't even ate them yet? Opens up his hand like freaking Deidara in Naruto, and he goes to go eat Happy and Carla, which he kind of gets his hand mouth around them, but he immediately gets blasted in the face by Natsu, which knocks him to the ground, and kind of as he's on the ground burning, he's, I guess, eating the flames, and he's saying that they're yummy. Kind of an interesting dude, because obviously he ate all of Natsu's flames, so that kind of null and voids Natsu's, you know, Dragon Slayer abilities there, unless if he uses lightning, which Brian definitely has a very weird quirk with him repeating things all the time, with him saying like full tummy, and he says thanks for the grub. And with that, he just straight up leaves the saloon, and they're just like, what the heck was this guy doing? It looks like Natsu got his flames absorbed by this guy. So Natsu decides to yell after him to wait, but the bartender told them not to. You better not get involved with him. That was Brian, and he's a member of a dark guild, with the dark guild's name being Fire and Flame, and everyone around here knows that they're heinous. And with that is the end of our chapter, so my thoughts. We haven't had too many dark guilds pop up lately. Nice to finally get another one. Wonder what their guild logo is. I don't think it's the worst name. I think also if it's like a dark guild under Ignia, obviously it makes sense why the guild names would be, you know, fire related. Be kind of cool if he actually was a guild under Ignia, because we haven't had the kind of guilds having sub guilds under them in quite a long time. Brian himself, obviously kind of interesting with the kind of hand similar to Deidara. I mean, if his whole thing is he just opens up mouths on his body and he can absorb flames, cool. I imagine like someone like Erza could probably beat him somewhat decently if she can just cut him, you know? But we'll see what this guy's deal is later on, I guess, because we don't even entirely know what his magic is, or if he even is using magic. Kind of got like a Joker aesthetic in maybe a little bit of like carnival gambling, because he has like a dice on his neck. And probably the biggest point of this whole chapter is, you know, obviously Jellal and Erza's conversation, which definitely does try and set up like a death is about to happen. But I do like that Jellal finally, you know, wants to be part of Fairy Tail. And obviously you could tell that made Erza incredibly happy. So obviously I think their relationship would strengthen significantly more when he is in the guild. Would not shock me at all if Jellal becomes part of the main team, just because they would like to be together more. So what are your guys' thoughts on this chapter? Leave in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and this is Drago, signing out.